And he decided to, dip into it, and then, what I felt made it worse was the fact that, you're not active like that no more. Eminem is still active, and he's consistently putting out records, and he's known for this type of format of rapping. He's known to like lyrically destroy you. So why would you even like want to, take a stab at somebody like that who can definitely, put a stain on your career? And I mean, he had other people warn him. He had some of the goats and legends of hip hop warn him, and he still decided he wanted to do it. So, for us, it was a piece of cake. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to go do that? All right,
I'll watch.
I'll watch. And at first I felt bad, but then when I started going back, and started seeing stuff that he had said, I'm like, nah, you shouldn't have said that. That's not cool. You know what I mean? And he hasn't even done that to just Eminem. He's done that to other rappers as well.
And that's the problem I've had with Mel over the years. It's one thing to have high self-esteem. It's one thing that everyone should have high self-esteem. I believe in that. I don't believe that you should be overly conceited when you may have laid down a great body of work, but you have not continued to hone your craft, and that's where he fell short. You're using skill set from a different era in a now era, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
it just didn't work.
And
I'm being gracious. What I'm saying is, it didn't work. I'm trying to be gracious.
I gotta say this in a nice way.
If you can't say it nice, just say it the way you mean it.
Melly Mel's trash, and I'm just gonna say that he wasn't even the best. He wasn't even the best in his era. Yeah, I mean, he was to me. Wasn't. He's only to me. He's memorable for something that wasn't even his. You know what I'm saying? That's number one. Number two, I don't know him as a person, so I'm talking about his format of rapping. So I'm not saying he's a trash person. So let's get that clear, because I don't know him. I'm just talking about most of his music, maybe not for me or whatever. But when you come in for somebody like Eminem, I understand that you want to be confident in your space, but you got to realize that Eminem's been doing this, defending or battling for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? You can't come at him with something that's mediocre, half, whatever.
No. Even if you have a valid point to what you're saying, your skill set should be.
It has to be, it has to be almost bulletproof when you talk about the three guys, Eminem, Jay-Z, and Nas. They're untouchable when it comes to hip hop. You can battle somebody.
To a certain regard, they're above hip hop.
Yeah, in a way, yes. Those three guys, to me, you can't really say too much about them because they're gone already.
Man.
They can quit today, and that's it. They don't have to ever utter another word. You know what I'm saying? But someone like Melly Mel, he's a legend. Mm-hmm. To me, he's a legend. It's just my opinion. He's a legend by default. You know what I'm saying? He's not a Notorious B.I.G. That's just me. I'm not saying that. You might disagree. People might disagree.
See, I can kind of counter it because I'm from a different generation.
Yeah. I'm probably older than you.
I don't think so. I'm 55.
Okay, well then I'm almost there with you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say how old I am.
I always say I'm the immortal 55. I have no problem.
Like for real. But I'm saying, so I grew up in the same era you grew up in. What I'm saying is, I can name 10 people ahead of him automatically. You know what I'm saying?
Well, though, if I take honestly, I would take the message out of.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the one song that I always say he got too much credit for is The Message.
Yeah.
Okay, but take the message out of his body of work.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the lyrics, like I said, like White Lines.
Yeah.
The lyrics in White Lines, he caught that whole era of what the '80s drug scene and what was going on. Athletes rejected, governors corrected, gangsters, thugs, and smugglers are thoroughly respected. Those are straight up lines that apply now. So he does have a volume of work that, if you look at the written aspect of it, it's timeless. So, and he does have some timeless songs, but he didn't continue to maintain that level of excellence.
What I would say is, what I notice about hip hop connoisseurs such as you and myself is we tend to hold on to what they say, but we don't tend to hold on the impact that these people had. And impact as in influence, I should say. Not impact as in like, okay, well, you impacted the hood. Influence. When it comes to hip hop, you got to take everything into consideration, even record sales. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times what we do is we'll say, well, this song was fire, and the song could be fire. But if nobody's heard it, it doesn't matter.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I can't even take it because Jadakiss is one of the dopest lyricists of all time.
Yeah.
His ability doesn't match the sales of his records.
Well, he does have a platinum album, I believe. So over
a length of time. But if you go by the volume of work, the body, and how long he's been doing, some people would say he didn't bubble up until really later than when he started.
Yeah, and again, that goes into what I'm saying.
The Roots, they were the longest. They was like the band that nobody knew for years.
Yeah, but that's that's exactly what I'm saying. So when we come to him, every artist, to me, every artist of that generation made it way past their time. And again, I'm not trying to say whatever. This is how I feel. But as far as this him responding to Eminem, because that's what we're talking about, he should have never did that.
No,
he should have just, especially if he hasn't did a song in like 40, 50 years. Like, bro, come on.
I mean,
come on, bro.
I think what it is, and I think this is something that they only do in hip hop. Their rock counterparts can have lulls in their career and they'll still be loved, respected, accolade. Like the Rolling Stones, for example. Those guys are great grandfathers. And if they ever decide to get on any stage anywhere in the world, they're filling arenas.
That's the difference. See,
and that's the difference with rappers. Rappers, for better or worse, gift and curse. Because the music evolves as fast as it does. And because we get bored with our own music, and we're like, let's just move on to the next. So it's the gift and the curse at the same time.
It goes like hip hop is like a roller coaster. You know, it goes like this. But to say what you're saying about Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and all those guys, music was a little bit different, I would say. But I also would say that the reason why, because they have, and it just, you just actually said it, but they have a legion of fans. Their fans don't waver. You know what I'm saying? They don't, if you make a bad song, they don't care because they love you. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of hip hop artists, they have this thing. It's like a love-hate thing with the fans. Fall off, they don't like you. I mean, like if you say something they don't like, then you out of there. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. But
it's not necessarily like that if you are in the UK. If you're overseas,
anywhere overseas, honestly, because a lot of people, they think the perception of if you don't make it in the American Billboard top 100, you're a failure. Whereas you can be an artist who don't even chart over here and get released overseas, and you could be a superstar over there and come home and live a regular life here because people don't just.
There's artists right now in the Dominican Republic that have 100 million views on YouTube, and you never heard of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's. Go ahead, you say what you said, brother.
Yeah, like I was saying, you know, when you talk about the overseas, the UK culture, you know what I mean? There's a lot of artists over there who are super fire, and they could probably, you know, lap a few of the artists in the United States just off of, you know, their lyrical creativity alone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about impact as far as worldwide. I'm just speaking of, you know,
You have to impact the world.
you know what I
It's
mean?
hard to
I
impact.
still live by the 100 true fan theory.
Yeah, you know.
If you get 100 people to support you who will spend $100 on you annually,
Yeah.
you can live off of 100 people if you were reaching them.
Yeah, it's true. So, you know, and when we go back into our podcasting, you know, a lot of those UK followers that we have, they lived off of what we said about their artist.
Right.
And that's kind of what, you know what I'm saying, allowed us to really voice our opinions. Because, like, all right, for example, right, we could talk about somebody like Easy Mill, right? Easy Mill is like the godfather in the Philippines. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
His fans are so loyal that anything that Easy Mill does, they're going to watch. So when we react to his stuff, they are guaranteed going to respond their opinions. They're going to say what they say, and they're going to understand, you know, what we break down as far as his lyrics. And Easy Mill is fire. And a lot of people around here still don't know about Easy Mill. It's the same thing with Ren or Pete and Boss. Pete and Boss, when we stumbled upon their music, they already was taking off. They already had like 100 million views, all that stuff. And when we started reacting to their stuff, the core following that they brought in that enjoyed our content literally catapulted and pushed us to the front of the line. There were cats that's been doing this for like 10 years, and we literally lapped them.
Right.
Because of the simple fact we just giving our honest opinion. Because I mean, let's just be for real. Some podcasters, you know what I'm saying, then they're not giving their quote unquote real critique. You know what I'm saying? They're just going off of what everybody else is doing. As for us, you know what I mean, we felt like the realism is going to play through if we just be honest.
Okay.
And that's what we was doing the whole time. We looked at it from that aspect, and also to point out like positivity. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect people to love you if you constantly shooting something down that could possibly be the greatest song ever, but you constantly shooting shots at it because you don't like it. Because you don't like it, don't mean everybody else ain't. So you got to kind of draw the line somewhere in the middle and be like, well, I got to have more of an open mind. And once you do that, you know, you can figure out like who's going to be a demographic and who's not, you know?
Okay. Let me ask you this. Okay, now, since you guys are, because podcasting it seems to be like the biggest thing breaking new artists and up and coming artists more than commercial radio, more than what music video did, like let's say in the late 80s through the 90s and into the 2000s. From your perspective, how are artists being broken in now? What's their outlet? Is the podcast the new outlet to break artists?
It really depends on how big your podcast is. Some artists come into this with a fan base already. They built their own fan base through whether it's through any social platform, YouTube, Instagram. I mean, I think it's still the same way, but actually, to be truthful, a lot of record labels and record execs, they're looking for you to already have that already.
Right.
Have that following already. Because if you don't, they don't want to start from the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
It's a crazy time.
Yeah.
Because now artists are building their own followings and platforms, which is what the record companies were required to do.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Most artists don't even need a record label no more.
Right.
To be honest with you, when you sign to contracts, of course they have influence, because that's all you signing for is influence. You're not signing for let's take Tom McDonald for example. Tom, I don't know if you know who Tom McDonald is.
Educate me.
No, Tom McDonald is he's a Caucasian rapper from Canada,
Okay.
and he's very big. And the thing is, he's not signed to a label, does everything himself, and he hits #1 on Billboard several times. You know what I'm saying? So when you are, how would I say, when you're that talented and you do stuff like that, I give you another name, Oliver Anthony. Oliver Anthony is not signed to a label. He was offered $8 million. He turned it down, but he's not signed to a label. He had the biggest song probably ever. You know what I'm saying? With Richmond, North of Richmond. So, and shout out to him too, because to believe it or not, when we reacted to his song, we had a lot of legions of fans. People thank you, crying, sending us messages, and I'll get into that in a second. But as far as a lot of these artists go that's not signed, all you have to do is work hard, because you can do everything yourself. You see how we're recording?
Right.
Everything's free.
Yeah.
Instagram is free.
All
Twitter is free.
Investing in equipment.
That's all. That's it. And you could spend $500 and make millions. Yeah. Probably you could spend less than that. You could do everything on your phone. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that a lot of artists that want to get signed, they're under the notion that record labels have their best interests at heart. So they feel as though, okay, well, if I could get signed, then I'll get on. Like, you really don't need that no more.
No. It's funny too, because everybody has access to phones now. The nerds have won.
Yeah.
These are pocket computers. I don't even know why they call them phones. They do more than desktops.
Exactly.
So,
you know what I mean?
So if you got the will, the drive, the imagination, and the business acumen, because that's another thing a lot of people seem to not take seriously as they should.
Yeah.
So
as far as the business side?
As far as the business side.
As far as the business side, a lot of people are lazy, and they want people to do stuff for them.
Right.
They want to walk into comfortability. That's not the case. You can't just walk into something and be successful. Mm-hmm. If you walk into something being successful, it's not your success. It's somebody else that put you there.
Yeah.
And they can take it away just as fast. So there's trials and tribulations for a reason. There's reason why the term work hard is the term for a reason. If it's given to you, or if it's given to you so easily, then it's like somebody born into money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not to say that, because there are some people who are born into money and they have to maintain it. So not to say that, but some people who are born into money. Oh, if you watch Game of Thrones?
It wasn't my thing.
Well, there's a character on Game of Thrones who he didn't want to be the king because he was too lazy.
Right.
And then when he figured how, if he is the king, what perks he can get, then he became the king, and he didn't work hard, but he still became the king. That's how I believe a lot of artists are today. They just want to walk into something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
because the one thing I see with a lot of these artists, they think that just going into the studio and making the song, that's all they have to do. And I'm like,
that's not all you have to do.
That's actually the easy part, because you supposedly love doing that.
It goes back to what I said before. The hard part is getting people to like you and really like you, not just like you because of for a single. No, they like you because they like how you move. They like your music. They like how you carry yourself, like stuff like that. So
right. Yeah. Success is a combination of ability, opportunity, and just connection.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right.
That's true.
Yo, this has been a great conversation. I gotta take another PSA break. When we come back, we'll get to a little more of this whole, since building the podcast, I need to know where is this going, where is it taking you, and what is it doing for you.
All right. Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about that when we come back. WLFR 91.7 Soul Revival. And stay with us. We good here.
And we'll be back.
You know what?